laying out their bases and coming up with a game plan. Great job.
Now you worked for the past 6 years, so you were all of the Obama years, right? So you worked with Michelle Obama. Did she have a design aesthetic? Did she tell you pretty much what she wanted in her flowers?
Well, the garden style was really what we emphasized at the White House, and it's always classic, modern. You can do really beautiful things with garden flowers any season, any time of year.
Did she use the White House garden? I know there's a rose garden.
So on occasion, we were known to go down to the garden, maybe pick some cabbages or foliage, but we tried to stay away from the rose garden.
So did you enjoy the job?
It was a dream job, really a highlight, and so exciting, everything I learned and saw and was able to accomplish there. So I'm very proud of it.
I'll bet it was. It must have been great. Let's talk over here with Sarah. Sarah, you're with Washingtonian Bride and Groom magazine. This is bridal season, is it not? Oh yeah. Tell us what you're seeing as far as wedding flowers and some trends this season.
So I really think designers are going for, as Laura said, this garden style, these kind of lush organic arrangements where you might see some leaves or some kind of shrubbery kind of extending out from more centralized color. I think that's a really, really beautiful look. We'll also see some brides go super modern with just a single statement bloom for their bouquet, and I think that's a really, really interesting modern look. But here in DC, we still love the very lush peony, pinks, very, very romantic bouquets.
I love those too. I love all the flowers that come out in May. They're gorgeous. So, what do you see, like in the past? What have you seen as far as the craziest sort of floral design for weddings?
Anytime I see floral arrangements hanging from the ceiling of a tent, I'm very impressed. How they get those up there is an aerodynamic feat that I don't understand. I think that's probably been one of the standouts.
As far as flowers go, it's a big budget item in a wedding, isn't it? Yeah. Tell us about if you're planning your wedding, some of the do's and don'ts of floral planning.
We'll talk a lot about staying local for flowers, but it doesn't necessarily mean that your local options will be the cheaper options. I think brides should know what's in season. I think that oftentimes ends up being a lot more important, as those will be a little bit more affordable because they're just more abundant.
And it helps keep the cost down, doesn't it? Yeah. And buying local.
Yeah, buying local is a great, great, great option to kind of support the natural landscape of the world around you. But again, just making sure that you're local and seasonal. That seasonality factor is a big one when it comes to budget impact.
Okay, good to know. What about the color palette this year? What do you see?
It's really all over the place. Pinks are still really, really popular for our Washington brides, but I personally love kind of the greenery a lot. Some brides are going a little bit more eco-friendly and sticking to leaves and that kind of look versus the big bold blooms. And I also think greens paired with classic whites is a beautiful look it's both contemporary and timeless.
Is there a way to get stretch your floral dollar for weddings when you're talking about providing some kind of a floral display on each table for the reception? I mean, can you sort of cut back there?
So I think saving money on flowers for your wedding, there's a lot of strategy involved. I think, I've seen brides do everything from having their bridesmaids take their bouquets and place them in centerpieces at wedding, which is a great, way to double up for your budget. But I've also seen brides be very strategic about where they put their statement centerpieces. I think the smartest thing to do is to put it where people's attentions will really be focused. So as they walk into the reception site or perhaps on the sweetheart table, it's really picking those key locations.
Our designers are hard at work, and they are coming along pretty quickly over here. Let's talk with Elizabeth now. Elizabeth Kane is the DC editor of Ask Ms. A. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
So you must go to a ton of great events in your job, right?
Yes, definitely every week there's always something going on, especially during charity season, which is now just sort of wrapping up and coming to a close. So, yes.
And what are you seeing as far as floral trends go for all of these events?
Well, I think, there are so many events, and I think what really grabs my attention when I go to an event is that wow, this is so different than anything I've ever seen. A lot of incorporation of branches and small fruit trees, and actually a lot of succulents, which I think are fun. The Washington Literacy Center just did one and had a bunch of little succulents near their bar. The Pink Tie Party did a beautiful arrangement with cherry trees. So it's really just creating that effect of something that is maybe not so traditional.
I like that. Something a little different that catches your eye and says, wow, makes you stop and say, wow, that looks really cool. So have you ever received any flowers that are truly memorable?
Well, I think the people that send you flowers make the flowers memorable, but yes, I think for me, I like to have a little meaning behind flowers, and I did receive an arrangement that was a little different that had lavender roses. And actually, my boyfriend sent them to me.
What does lavender in a rose mean? Does it have a meaning?
It means love at first sight. I don't think he knew that. But I thought that was really sweet.
It was sweet. Was that a while ago, or was that more recent?
Recently.
Somebody loves you. It's nice to be loved, isn't it? What are your go-to flowers at home?
Well, I have more of a... I would say I like to have for my tablescape something that's sophisticated but romantic and kind of easy to do. My go-to is really to do a beautiful tulip with roses in a short round vase with some greenery. It's just classic, and you really can't go wrong with it on a table.
And it's just so nice to have something fresh at home, isn't it? A fresh flower on the table. Can't go wrong there. Are there any sort of colors or designs that have been overdone and you're like, oh, so over that?
I think I would steer away from doing really, really bright pinks, I think the exception for the bright pink is a peony. Peonies and bright pink are beautiful, but anything fuchsia, really hot pink in an arrangement, or just the standard red rose, step it up a little. Different.
Like the lavender roses. He won some points on that, didn't he? Yes, he did. I want to check over here.